Sharmita and Haley, this is just a bonkers, scary movie. Sharmita, was there something about Solomon's writing or Nita herself that drew you to be a part of this film?
I was really intrigued by it because it is a story that heavily relies upon the actors being able to drive the story into where it needs to go, which is such a challenging but fun type of role for any actor. And for me, definitely that was intriguing. My first film in the horror genre, so also a big part of that was just being able to be part of something like that. Emily Schweber cast this project, and I've worked with her multiple times, and she often brings really great projects. So it was like a combination of good people already being on board, being curious to try a new genre, and taking a stab at something that is generally considered challenging. So I was like, okay, let's do it.
Rachel, this is another, I mean, Rachel is just an incredible character for you, Haley. How was she initially described to you?
I the project initially came to me through the producer, Sonny. He described the movie itself as a scary My Dinner with Andre, which is a a movie that's just a storytelling movie. And that really intrigued me. I I knew that she was a very troubled character, and I when I read it, it just really drew me in. I was really a little scared and invigorated by the prospect of taking on all of these monologues and this huge scary story. Yeah.
Sharmita, is there ever a moment where you guys think this is maybe in your heads where you're hearing these voices from like the furnace and these inner demons that maybe they're inside you?
For Nita, for like what she was going through.
Yeah, does she feel like maybe she's sort of like having a schizophrenic moment at some point?
I think as the movie goes along, which spoilers there, but I think she starts to realize that there's something at play, and it wasn't just her being there for a friend who she would think has all the issues happening, and she's just trying to be there. To Yeah, maybe something's really off about my friend and needs more help, and then from there it's why are there weird things happening around me? Whatever it is, I do think it's always connected back to her. I don't think I'm thinking I created Rachel's character in my head or anything. I think it's happening, but I do think I'm being played or something is, whether it's I may not know the vehicle with which she's doing this, but she's definitely causing the energy to shift around me in a way that never happened. So I do think she knows my weaknesses, and that's all like I'm processing as the movie goes on and on. Like I know I'm being pulled in somehow. So I don't think I'm thinking it's just all in my head, but I do think she's got control over some things that are inherently horrible in my heart, and she's using it to my disadvantage.
He's like full in agreement of your assessment of what's going on. This movie are just palpable on screen. Haley, there's this incredible darkness to the movie. What was it like for you filming?
It was, I had a little bit over a month to prepare for it. And so a lot of it, Sharmita and I we spent a lot of time leading up to the shoot. There was like a pretty intense prep period for both of us that we spent together just combing through the script almost daily, and getting into the story, and sometimes adjusting things where things felt um, like they needed to be. And so when we got to actually filming, it was a relatively short shoot. It was only, I think, 12 days. And so those days were very intense. And most of that, like the ones that the monologue days were very, we would shoot maybe 10-minute takes. And so it very much felt like kind of like a play sometimes where we were like living in the house like in the moment. Yeah, it was very very intense and hard. It was I would say we it really felt like we went through that story. We like lived through it in some of those nights, like when it would get really late.
Sharmita, since Solomon wrote and directed this, how precious was he with the dialogue? Were you able to improvise at all, or maybe flesh out with him what you feel this character would say?
Absolutely. So while we were shooting, I would say we stuck fairly close to the script, but in that 1 month period leading up to it, he was very, very open to us figuring out who these people are and make the kinds of adjustments we felt. Obviously, we brought him into that process to make sure it's still aligned to his story, but we very much went through or like this, I feel like this is who my character is. What do you think about this? And responding this way. So we developed it into what we felt was like a collaborative, this makes sense for this person. Here's my feedback on it. And by the time we got to the actual shoot, I feel like we were sticking because they were such long, heavy, detailed paragraphs that have so much information that going off the cuff, we have to make sure we give everyone still the same details. So we wanted to make sure we were ready before we got there, so we didn't leave anything out that needed to be said.
Haley, is there a particular scene where you're most proud of the work you put into?
I mean, I think just the all of the monologue scenes. I really put a lot. Both Sharmita and I put a lot of love and care and effort into those, and so I'm happy, very happy with how the monologues turned out. Yeah, it was a very we both knew going into it that it would be a big challenge, and I think that was the most rewarding part of it is getting to do them.
I mean, Sharmita, inching closer to that furnace on the floor is just like it's, it's like one of the scariest things I've seen. And as someone who's not like a scary movie watcher, it's just so palpable. What was it like for you filming the more intense moments for you? Was it harder for you to be always at an adrenaline level of 10, like filming these intense moments?
Thankfully, I mean, I had the easier side of not being paranoid the whole time, as Rachel was definitely in the zone the entire movie. For me, I got to kind of get myself there. So my more emotionally challenging things were the second half of the film, anything shot in that period. The part where I'm crawling with her, where she gets to the furnace, I'm just trying to figure out what's wrong with me. And so I don't think I'm going into the world of what it ends up being. I think if anything, I'm thinking she needs rest or something definitely happened she hasn't spoken to me about yet. Like I'm more there. And then I start to get into later on. So I didn't have as much of staying in that space, but my character does go from 0 to 100 with where she needs to go with her paranoia coming out of her nightmares of her then seeing things and then going to the house in a trance. All these things that are happening were very intense, so I had to make sure that shift did get there. And when it got there, I mean, there was like one thing that we shot where we could hear a pin drop when I did that scene because it was so I didn't think we only did like one take on it because it was just so incredibly intense. We might have done two because they wanted a safety, but they were like, after that, we gotta let her go. Oh my gosh. But I
It
could
was
hear a pin drop. It was,
that scene. It was so intense. Everyone was in tears by the end.
yeah.
Sharmita was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Haley, how did you shake off then a long day of filming on this set?
It would actually be a long night. We were doing night shoots, or like where you kind of become nocturnal for the 3 weeks that we were filming this. And so I would usually watch a lot of silly YouTube videos at the end of the day. Um, and I would often be up until like we would be so like the adrenaline would be pumping through both of us
We would
by the
we
end of the
would
night.
living in the same space, so we would go to each other's rooms, whoever's room it was, and then wind down for a second of just so. whew, how'd it go today? Like, let's
Oh,
talk this out so we can calm down and actually sleep tonight.
Yeah, we would,
Which is
we
always
would,
really fun.
yeah, we would often be up until the sun was kind of coming up, and once we would get a good night's sleep, we'd go and get coffee in the morning.
Hmm.
Sharmita, what do you think it is about We're Not Safe Here that's just gonna make it a fast, must-see horror drama?
I feel like what's different about this film than what I've been typically seeing come out. I mean, I also don't watch a ton in the horror film world. I'm too much of a scaredy cat myself. Um, but I really do like that it is a bit of a psychological, slow film because it makes you fall into the reality of could this be a version of what my life can look like? Trust, we all have some versions of trust issues or getting help when you need it, talking to people, reaching out, the dangers and the benefits of that. Things, it feels very real life to me in so many ways. So I think that's what's kind of creepy about this one is are you willing to see it with the eyes of, oh, is this me or is this that friend who needs help or what's really happening behind the scenes? You can feel those things. It doesn't feel very removed from real life.